From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more Corner Pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, Corey and I unveil our parts of the Warchant Top 40, going from 36 to 40. Just our picks, not the master list. You got to go to warchant.com for that. And a recruiting weekend wrap-up with Michael Langston. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida. 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Daily weekday lunch specials, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., only $8.99. Comes with a side dish. On Monday, you build your own burger, half-pound Black Angus beef. Comes with your side dish choice of straight fries, curly fries, onion rings, potato salad, broccoli, side salad, tater tots, or freshly cooked potato chips. All that for only $8.99. It's usually $11.99. They're hooking you up because you listen to the show, because you're a patron of the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Check them on out. Don't forget, tomorrow is trivia night over at the CP. Corey will not be there. He is doing the finishing touches on first half Father of the Year honors over there in Birmingham. We'll get some deets on that in a second. Don't forget, it's only $1 for 3 months of premium access to warchant.com, or you can sign up for an entire year for 50% off. Do the 50% off thing. The year is going to be awesome. Baseball is going to be back up and running. Basketball is going to be back up and running. We're going to be at whatever playoff spot to be determined, so don't miss a minute of it. Do not miss a minute of it. Did you miss any pitches from your son's tournament this past weekend, Corey? Give us like a solid 2.5-minute soliloquy on what it's like being a baseball dad at one of these huge monster tournaments going down in Hoover, Alabama.
Yeah, so I'll keep it Florida State-centric. Brady actually played a Florida State commit on Sunday. Corey Fuller's son. We all know Corey Fuller, former great cornerback, played in the league for a long time, and is now I don't know what his job title is, director of player ops. Who knows what it is for Florida State? But he's a part of the staff, and apparently, I don't know this because I'm not one of those kind of dads, but Brady is one of those kind of kids. Apparently, he is the number one ranked kid in his class. He's the class of 2027, so he's an 8th grader. He does not look like an 8th grader, but he is an 8th grader, and he's already committed to Florida State, and he's the number one kid in the class. And, so Brady got to –
Chase Fuller.
And Brady got to play his team on Sunday. It did not go well, but we kept Chase in check. It was his teammates and a lot of hit-by pitches and walks that it didn't go well. They're a very good team. They have kids. He's on one of these national teams. It is bizarre. I'm not judging anyone. If Brady was this good, he would be doing this too. But it's one of these national teams where the kids are from all over the country. So his teammate, he's got one teammate that's from Texas, another teammate that's from California. He's of course from Tallahassee. So Brady got to see that up close and personal, which is cool. Honestly, it's like, hey, my son and Chase Fuller made outs in the same game.
Nice.
One of these days, Brady will be able to tell his kids about that. Like, I had to play against Chase Fuller one day. But what is weird is that, there are other dads that know exactly who that is. I didn't. The only reason I knew him is because I saw Corey Fuller there. But there are other dads that are these kind of, they're the dads that are maybe a little too into it for a 14-year-old. But at this age, they are starting to get recruited. Some of them are committing, and when Chase Fuller was pitching, he throws 91. By the way, just want to throw that out there. He pitched on Saturday night. Thankfully, he didn't pitch against Brady's team. He threw 2 pitches over 90 miles an hour as a 14-year-old. So, good times. That's got to be fun. What does that project to when he's 21, Aslan? Is he going to be throwing 111?
Oh man, that's impressive, man. By the way, so what are Brady's stats, height, weight? Would you say, Dad?
I would say he's 5'6", 145, 150, somewhere in there. Maybe 5'7". I'll go ahead and knock him up to 5'7". Okay.
Chase Fuller is 6'1", 165 pounds,
and he's not the biggest. He's not even the 4th biggest kid on that team.
Oh,
it looked like they had another kid. I'm telling you, he looked like Vandravius Jacobs. And he ran like him too. just a huge kid that could really run. They were obviously very, very good. But yeah, it's almost like they're not playing the same sport. But yeah, so Florida State fans should be excited. You keep Chase Fuller. Now look, if he's the number one player in the country 4 years from now, probably not going to go to college. But either way, he's a Florida State commit right now, and you hold on to him, and by the time he gets to Florida State, if he's throwing 91 at 14, he's going to be throwing 106 his freshman year at Florida State.
All right. That's awesome.
There you go. We're done. So I didn't get to see him pitch, but I will say this. He played third in that game. I think he's normally a shortstop. He fielded a ball going to his right towards the line. And I'm telling you, he threw it. He looked like Cam Smith throwing it to first.
Nice.
Just easy, one step. Didn't even put a lot on it. Got our fastest kid out by 3 steps. Just ridiculously talented kid. So good job, Corey. Not Corey Clark, Corey Fuller for getting that done.
Corey's got a few more days out in Birmingham. Y'all pray for him. Hoover, whatever it is. Close enough. Same thing. Tune in tonight at 6 o'clock, I think. The Monday Smash. Used to be the Sunday Smash. Now it's the Monday Smash. I'll be on there with Irish O'Fell. We will be debuting the composite ultimate Warchant preseason top 40. This includes the votes from Gene, Ira, Jeff, Tom, in addition to Corey and myself. But on today's show, Corey and I will just walk you through who we picked 36 through 40. This has always been a fun exercise, but this year, really, really fun. Hope you guys enjoy it when you see it unveiled on the website as well as the Smash. So let's go ahead and start it off, Corey. I put him on the list, man. I put Desson Hill at 40. I did it. Why didn't you? Traitorous jerk.
Well, there's a lot of receivers on the list already, and I don't know, man. If I'm counting down the wide receivers, I think I've got. It looks like I've got like 5 ahead of them, like 5 already on here, 6 maybe. So it's like I don't know how important is the 6th wide receiver on this team this year. But that said, he's that wild card that you have no idea. He could end up. And I'm just throwing this out there. It's probably not going to happen. I'm not predicting it. But maybe in the bowl game, he has 5 for 111. Like, we literally have, going into August, we have no idea what we're dealing with, right? Literally no idea. So I get it. He could, by the time December rolls around, I might look foolish for not having him on the list. You might look dumb for only having him at 40. So we'll see, I guess.
You've got Tate Rodemaker at 40, Corey. My counter to that would just be that I think this is a Heisman-esque season for your starting quarterback. I can't think of any Heisman-esque quarterbacks that have really had to. I know Tua replaced Jalen Hurts in the halftime of a national title game, but he wasn't a Heisman Trophy winner. I think Jordan's going to be healthy the entire season. Great insurance plan, but I just don't see Tate factoring into any games this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. That's the hope, right? But it is such a luxury, an insurance policy to have a guy like Rodemaker who you've seen do it. He's not Jordan Travis. If he's playing a lot in big games and in big moments, that's not what anybody wants. But you know that he can do it at least a little bit, and he's been in the system for a long time. When I think about it, I was like, man, should I have ranked him a little bit higher? Just because I do think it was a big deal for this football team for him to come back. That is just such a insurance policy in case your starting quarterback does get hurt for a game or a quarter or a drive. That you have a veteran, a guy that's in his 20s, that has played some football at this level and has produced and won a game. And so I think that's why. I mean, that's why I had him on the list. A backup quarterback is important, especially one that you know can do it. And again, he's not Jordan Travis, but you know he can go win a college football game for you. Brock Glenn might be that guy too. Duffy might be that guy too, but that's just a guess. Yeah. With Rodemaker, we know at least that he is a solid backup option, and that's a big deal at that position. I got him at 40, right? It's not like I had him at 9. Yeah.
I guessed at 39. You kind of guessed. There's a little bit more data there. You got KJ Kirkland at 39. I got Conrad Hussey.
Look at us. That's the battle of the freshman safety. You are absolutely guessing. You have no idea.
None.
Hussey might be slower than me. You haven't seen him against a college football wideout, against college football wide receivers. No, I got Kirkland on there because, look, I'm still not until. I guess we'll see in August. But right now, there will be a true freshman in the 2 deep at safety at Florida State. He's the one that was here in March for spring practice. And didn't you think he looked? I mean, I thought he looked. He certainly didn't look out of place.
No,
he looked competent. He made some plays. I think he had a couple interceptions during the spring practice, during the month of spring practice. So I just think what if he works himself into by, again, he's not going to play a lot against LSU if the other 2 guys are healthy, but maybe he works himself into the rotation where he's playing against Florida. There is a chance, right? You could foresee a path for that to happen, because I thought he looked really good for a kid that was supposed to still be in high school.
Yeah, I just think Hussey can probably get on that track by October. So I think that maybe by then, maybe a little bit more gifted athletically, maybe a little bit more comes from a little bit of a stronger program in St. Thomas Aquinas, so maybe he'll just be a little bit more ready-made at this point in his career. But eventually, maybe at some point, KJ overtakes him. So be interesting to keep tabs on that one. 38. Are you serious, Corey? Rodney Hill? Mm-hmm. That low? What?
Yeah. So hold on. I'm gonna count these up real quick. So I've got 2 running backs ahead of him, and I've got, I don't know, man. Again, 5 wide receivers ahead of him. Look, he's going to be the 3rd string running back. So where does that rank in the? Unless somebody gets hurt, like going into the season. So where does that rank in the list on the ladder of important players? I just think your 3rd string running back isn't as important as, I don't know.
More important than your 5th wide receiver, though, in this offense. Maybe.
And look, it'll all depend on injuries and how in development, all that stuff. Like, again, if Toafili goes down for an extended period of time, or Trey Benson, God forbid, goes down for an extended period of time, then Rodney Hill jumps up high. But for now, I think you're talking about maybe, if you include tight ends, your 9th or 10th skill player, maybe 11th. I mean, I just think there's maybe more important positions than 3rd string running back, especially when I don't foresee him getting more than 5 touches a game if the other 2 are healthy.
I've got Ryan Fitzgerald at 38. He's the kicker at Florida State. You're going to be in some big games. I don't think a lot of them are going to be close, but LSU, Clemson, a kick might not be the last play of the game, but it might be something that's going to be contingent on other things happening. So I'm going to put Fitzgerald at 38. 37. Now I've got Quindarius Jones. He's a guy that we saw in the spring. I thought he performed a little bit better than KJ Kirkland.
Man, you really don't like KJ Kirkland.
Yeah,
What's
sorry.
the deal there?
I don't know. Raines. I knew a girl from Raines. She burnt me.
Oh, okay. I got you. Fair enough.
I was kidding. I just thought Mississippi, man. The Mississippi stuff always gets to me. So, and also I thought he was coming in as a corner, as like a safety, but they're kind of, they're moving him around. They feel really good about what he can be. He's really rangy. So I like what he can be for them from the jump. So I'm going to put Quindarius at 37. At 37, who do you got checking in, Corey?
I've got Winston Wright. So again, I think this is something where he might not be. Let me put it this way: if he ends up playing a lot, this is going to look really dumb. I kind of
smarter than the guy that didn't even put him on the list.
But I've kind of couched it right. Like, I do think he's going to be an important part of this team, but it is frankly a guess at this point. There's nothing we've seen that would indicate he was going to be a huge part of the offense in 2023. But we also haven't seen him for 2 months. We're not going to see him for another 2 months, and by that time, when we get out there for the LSU game, for all I know, he'll be the 3rd starter.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know. So I kind of couched it and put him on the list. There is a chance that I will look really dumb because he'll be higher than this, maybe much higher than this, than 37. But I just didn't see enough in the spring to warrant assuming, to assume that he's going to be a huge factor for this offense. But there is a chance he will be. Like, right? It's not out of the realm that Winston Wright, the guy that has 120 catches in college, would be a big deal for this team as a, whatever he is, a 23-year-old in 2023 with basically 2 years removed from football if he's healthy, if he's worked himself back. So let's just hope he has.
Yeah, I think if there's, I don't know, it wouldn't be a mulligan. I don't want to call it a mulligan, but if there's like that one player, and I don't want to call it boom or bust, but there is that possibility because he's done it. I mean, he has done it more so than any of these other guys that we're guessing on towards this part of the list here. That, yeah, if he gets over the mental hurdle, if he really truly is 100% and feels that way, that, yeah, man, he'll shoot past a lot of these guys. I hope it happens. I really, truly hope it does. But I'm in a wait-and-see approach right now. So I'm cool with you putting him at 37. That's probably about right. Abstaining him from the list, probably not right. All right, last one on our list here, at least for this juncture. Again, we'll do the entire team, the whole Warchant gang on the Monday Smash, so tune in. I don't know if I'm going to get some booze on this one, but I got Colin Morlock at 36, Corey.
Okay.
He's going to be part of the attack here. I don't know how involved, but a guy that size, it seemingly moved pretty well. They'll find a way to get him involved. I just like some of the other guys out in front of him when it comes to pass catchers. And Marqueson Douglas, for whatever he lacks in flash and maybe the just the stature that, Morlock has, he has shown it in spades in games that matter in really big situations. That catch, that play that they drew up for him against Oklahoma was just where he kind of hid behind the tackle and just shot off down the seam. Man, that was a big-time play. I think they really do trust Marquise, and so I think, Morlock will have to earn it. So I got Morlock at 36.
Yeah, and I don't have him on my list. I'll go ahead and give that up. People will know if we keep going through this, but it's not that I saw anything in the spring that was like, oh no, this guy's got nothing. He's not going to be a contributor. In fact, I saw a good bit. I was impressed by him. I was impressed by his athleticism. Obviously, his catch radius. He's a huge kid. He made tough catches. I just think going into August, he's your third string tight end. And how important really is your third string tight end? Who was the third string tight end last year?
Wyatt
Preston
Rector?
Daniel?
Yeah.
Preston Daniel, somebody like that. Wyatt Rector. They weren't in the top 40, and nobody would think twice about that. I just think and I guess I should say this. Obviously, Jaheim Bell is one. Marqueson Douglas had a good spring, on top of a pretty productive season in 2022 for a backup tight end. So that also played a role in it too, is that I was impressed with what Marqueson did. I thought there were days where he was the best tight end on the team, multiple days in the spring I'm talking about. So I just think Morlock, coming from a smaller school, having never played at this level, obviously Marqueson and Jaheim Bell have, I think he starts off a little bit behind, and the projection is there, the potential is certainly there, but I think he's your third string tight end. And I feel like your third string tight end is going to catch 12 passes. And so I don't know if that deserves to be in the top 40. So, but that does not mean I'm down on him as a player at all. In fact, when Jaheim Bell leaves in 2024, Morlock will probably be your starting tight end. It's just for 2023, I don't see him making a huge impact.
All right. So you got yourself covered from the Morlock family. Who did you put at 36?
I thought so. I thought that was very
very fair. Very fair.
Very fair. Yeah. I'm going to, and so my 36 is All Day Dre.
Yep.
Again, same thing kind of with Winston Wright, where we could look back at this in December or November and be like, man, I had him way low on the list, way too low on the list, because there is a chance, not a huge one. I don't know. We'll see. But if he finishes in the top 4 or 5 on this team in receptions, that is a big deal. That means he had a really nice freshman year. And I think there's a chance that could happen, right? We watched enough in the spring to realize he is ready to play. I don't know how much he is going to play, especially I think we watched him before Keon Coleman said yes. So that probably cut into his catches and playing time a little bit. But, man, this guy has all the tools. He is so natural and smooth. I think he's going to be really good. And there is a chance that he becomes a productive player, an impact player. No, he's not going to have 80 catches, but he might have 25 catches for 4 touchdowns or 6 touchdowns, and I think that gets him in the top 40. In fact, we don't know, man. He might end up with 40 or 50 catches, like I said, and I look dumb for having him this low. I just don't foresee that happening because there are so many skill players experienced skill players on this team.
Yeah. So, when we talk about the number 2 wide receiver, the number 3 wide receiver, and where we kind of are ranking these guys right now, I don't know how often it's so like stratified where like this guy is the number 3 receiver and that's kind of how he ends up the season, right? Like he's got the third most catches or he's got your third most yards. But with all these different kind of pieces they have, I think it's going to be really hard. I think it's going to be really hard. Do you think it will be really hard to kind of determine who these guys are once the year is over? Or will it be one of these? I see it like, man, there's going to be one game where Vandrevius Jacobs has a really big game. There's going to be one game where Kentron might be like, he might be the third read. Vandrevius might be the third read in one game. It's going to be so week to week, matchup based that it's going to be really interesting to see how it shakes out at the end of the year. Because whoever catches the third most passes as a wide receiver, I don't know if that necessarily is because they were defined that going into the preseason.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that I would be surprised if Vandrevius is your number 3 receiver in terms of catches and production as a true freshman. But like your point, what if he hauls in a 71-yard touchdown against
Duke to get some distance,
Yeah, or Virginia Tech in the third quarter to put that game away or something like that, or even a 50-yarder against Florida. Like, that's big enough to make an impact to deserve to be on the top 40. If you make, like Ja'Kai Douglas 2 years ago, right? Ja'Kai didn't make a ton of plays in 2022, but in 2021 he had the long catch against Notre Dame. Yeah. He had the long catch against Miami that set up Parchment, the 4th and 14. Like, those 2 plays alone made him one of the top 40 most impactful players on the team. Or most important, I guess is how we phrase it. So with that said, I think Vandrevius Jacobs has the ability to do that. He is not probably, like we said, going to have 50 for 700 and 8 touchdowns as a true freshman. But maybe of his 14 catches, 3 of them are in big, big moments. And then he belongs on this list. I could see that happening. But yeah, I think I get what you're saying with I think whoever ends up being the third receiver, whether it's Portier, Winston Wright, I don't know, Douglas, Jacobs, Hakeem Williams, whoever ends up being, Darian Williamson, when we look back and if we re-rank these in late December, I feel like whoever the third receiver is will be in the top 20. But I don't think the third receiver that we have as a group, as a collective at Warchant, will be in the top 20. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right now.
I follow.
All right, good.
All right, don't forget, tune in Monday Smash Live. Irish O'Fell, myself, talking the official top 40. We'll start putting all the pieces together and unveiling it. So stay tuned for that, as well as Michael Langston's recruiting wrap coming up here in a minute, Corey. But first, check out vitaminenergy.com and use the promo code WARCHANTBOGO, BOGO. That you can buy one, get one free, any item when you put in your basket and you use that promo code, courtesy of our friends at vitaminenergy.com, spearheaded by some Noles alums, all ACC caliber athletes, because that's how we roll. Give yourself 7 hours of energy with no sugar crash, no jitters, nothing crazy like that, because it's just vitamin energy. It's got vitamins, and the energy is all natural caffeine, 260 milligrams of it. That'll get you going for 7 hours, probably even more if you're a mortal human being. So check out vitaminenergy.com. Use that promo code WARCHANTBOGO. Corey, am I going to have to call Protective Services over you? Did you not give Brady some of this stuff before he went to play in these big-time games? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me. That was a mistake. That's on me. I didn't pack it in the car, but I was thinking, I wish I had, and I wish I brought my box full of, like, swag and shirts to give some to Corey Fuller's team, Corey Fuller's kids' team. Let those guys rep when they go to all these national tournaments and beat all the big best teams in the country. They're wearing their vitamin energy on the field, man. That would be awesome. I'm going to do that next time.
VitaminEnergy.com. Use that promo code WARCHANTBOGO. Michael Langston, Talking Recruiting, coming up right after this. All right, Michael, I'm not going to do a lot of talking. I'm just going to ask a few questions and let you do all the talking. But first, I'm going to do a little talking here. Let's talk about, obviously, everybody that was here for the Elite Camp this past weekend. I want to start with the 5-star, Cam Coleman. This young man is from Phoenix City, Alabama, and he let the entire world know that he was coming to Tallahassee by tweeting out a GIF or a GIF file, depending on how you guys want to pronounce it. Now, it happens to be a GIF of Renegade, or Osceola, rather, atop of Renegade, and trying to plant the spear, but falling, ultimately.
Yeah.
And some people got really upset. They thought this was some sort of, like, shot at Florida State. I just want to let everybody know, Michael, again, I'll let you talk here. on Sunday, I sent a buddy of mine a GIF file, and I couldn't see the preview really. I saw the face. It was a Tom Cruise one that I'd used before, and I sent it. And when it went through, it was this really choppy, bad version of it. So I'm going to think that Cam Coleman was just like, I'm going to Florida State. Let me type in Florida State mascot. I know Osceola Reagan, not a mascot. He typed it in. He saw a Native American in a horse. He's like, good, close enough, hit it. So be easy on the kid. Now, Michael,
I agree
on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. That's kind of the way I thought it happened. I think a lot of these things are overblown with gifts and stuff. And to Cam's credit, Cam does not get on social media. He doesn't do a lot of stuff on social media if you watch his activity there. So I think it was like that. But on the field, he was phenomenal. I mean, he just he's a big body guy. He really gets good separation for a big guy. He's got a big, long striding guy that really gets upfield well as far as when he comes in and out at those routes. He is moving. So he certainly had very little trouble getting separation. I put him down as our top receiver. I just thought he has a skill set I think a lot of guys don't have when you're that big. Kind of remind me of Justin Ross, who also played at Phoenix City, does some of the same things that he does. But Cam was very special. Just his physicality is certainly imposing when you see him go against DBs, but it's also to have that quickness and speed the way he does out of the routes. I think it's a big deal, and certainly said a lot as far as his performance throughout Saturday.
Again, he's from the state of Alabama. Sounds like Auburn is heavily involved. How much movement, progress you think Florida State was able to make on this trip?
Yeah, I think they did a lot of what they wanted to do. I think I've been waiting for a visit for him that would really move the needle. I didn't really feel like the one he took in the spring with his 7-on-7 team. Felt like that was too brief. It wasn't detailed. It wasn't where you get some intimate time as far as with, Norvell, Dugans, all these coaches, and just experience just what FSU is. I think this week he did that. And I think you really saw a solid effect. I think he had a really good quote about the visit, which was, I had a choice to go to a lot of places, but I came here because of where FSU sits on my list. So that told you a lot about, how itching he was to play. And then the other thing I go back to is kids that want to work out at the camp, even if it's an elite camp or something. I think that's usually a significant deal as far as wanting to be a part of that. And he was very itching to do the camp and not just be there, but also participate in it and also work with Dugans. He told me that was a big deal, that he really wanted to see kind of what Coach Dugans can do with him, what things he can do, both he was good and bad. Obviously, we did a full feature on the front page about how things went, but I think it moved the needle of what FSU needed. No, it's not, oh, you're overtaking Auburn. It wasn't about that. It was about putting yourself in position to have a chance to get this kid, and I think that's what this visit was about. He also acknowledged he's going to take an official visit. I think that's going to be an in-season official visit, but I think they did exactly what they want, and they finally had a visit I felt that moved the needle some with Cam. Still work to do because obviously you're dealing with Auburn and Alabama. Auburn's like right down the road from Phoenix City. So I think you certainly still have work to do, but I think this one moved the needle some with FSU, where there was I think a solid impact based on the intel I got off this visit from both people close to Cam and people around the FSU side.
Let's keep it with five-star wideouts. This product, though, in the state of Florida, made its way up JoJo Trader. I'm not going to – it's because it looks like it's Josiah, but it's not Josiah. JoJo Trader, he was in Tallahassee. Just how real is the interest between him and Florida State and vice versa?
I think it's very real. I think FSU has done a really good job. I would say even an elite job of what they've done as far as finding things that connect with JoJo that from a personal standpoint. I think JoJo even mentioned – when we talked to them that they didn't even talk about football at all. So I think everyone knows like JoJo's a very talented player. So I think FSU's kind of went to their wheelhouse, which is relationships, and they really focus on that. And it really resonated throughout the weekend with JoJo. The fact that they were here for 2 or 3 days or 2.5 days, 2 full days, and then maybe a half a day if you count the morning. I think it's a significant deal. And I think, and I've said this it's been Miami, FSU, but I lean towards FSU, Aslan. I mean, I lean towards the Seminoles based on the intel I've gotten coming out of this visit. I think they've done a great job. I think another big thing is they're a winning program. They're certainly a team that I feel like can do everything he's looking for on the field. Production, they've shown that. Receivers, they've shown that. When you're adding talented transfers like Keon Coleman, and then you already have Johnny Wilson and some others there, I think he's noticed kind of what they're doing with the dynamics of the receiving room. And then too, they have an incoming quarterback that's one of the best in Luke Kromenhoek, who was also there this weekend working on him. So I think everything, you put it together, I think it really just connected on this weekend's visit for JoJo, and I think they did a great job.
Who's in the mix with him? Who's going to be a battle?
I would say FSU and Miami. I think some with Ohio State a little because Ohio State, obviously they have his teammate, 5-star Jeremiah Smith, who's also going to officially visit FSU in July 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So I would say Ohio State a little, but mostly this is a FSU Cane battle.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't plan on talking about Luke Kromenhoek, but you brought him up, so you might as well talk about him. The gunslinger, okay. The quarterback, the prize jewel, if you will, for this upcoming class, and him working on players. You could tell, man, just how comfortable he sort of feels here at home, being in Tallahassee. What do you think he took away from this most recent visit to Florida State?
I think it was business as usual for him because he's so comfortable here that I think the visit part was easy. I think trying to connect with so many people, because there was a lot of recruits here, probably around 30 or so, really talented recruits, and certainly Luke was spreading himself wide, just getting up with all of them, and then watching him perform like in person, which I haven't seen I guess since last season. I mean, I cannot explain to people the arm talent this guy has, just watching him, the way he throws, the way the ball pops out. I think a lot of people saw that with all your great footage that you put up after the elite camp. I think he just does a lot of things that are naturally gifted. And and I've said this before, I think Luke is such a likable guy around other national prospects. He doesn't, I had a good conversation with Cam Davis, who was also there, their other, guy that's age recruiter. And we had a really good talk this morning while we were at the mega camp. And he was just telling me, it's like, Luke is really good at this stuff. I mean, he's really good at just resonating with everybody the way they are, personalities, and I think he nailed it with a lot of these guys. And I think a lot of reason why they're trending up for some of these offensive weapons, both as a receiver and then other positions, is I think Luke's a big result of that. So I think he certainly felt really comfortable, and I think he was what we thought he was when we watched him at the league camp. I thought he was phenomenal.
Apologies for interrupting your recruiting updates. MyBookie.ag is out there, though, and they're offering the promo code WARCHANT to you when you sign up for the first time, giving you an instant cash deposit bonus. Miami, Denver, Game 5, NBA Finals. Finally, is it over? Like, is this whole heat culture thing over? Is the better team finally going to win? Probably not tonight, I'm thinking. I convinced myself of this. I just think Miami's going to fight and scrap just one last time, push it to Miami, and then probably run out of gas. So I'm not saying take the Heat straight up, but they're getting 9 points. We'll take the 9. We'll take the under on 208.5. Maybe parlay them. Use that as you will. Should have had Corey do this, but we forgot to do it when we were talking. Anyhow, don't you forget to use the promo code WARCHANT when you go to mybookie.ag to get your instant cash deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere over at mybookie.ag. Back to Michael. Talking about lots of guys on offense, there's so many more to go over. It's all, again, over at the premium recruiting board over on warchant.com. But let's say with the class of 2024, let's look on the defensive side of things.
Yep.
Florida State obviously wants to be able to stockpile the back end of this defense as great as possibly they can. You need good cover corners. You need good tackling corners. You need good defensive backs for Adam Fuller's defense. Zaquan Patterson was in town. Michael, how impressed were you with his performance during the elite camp?
Yeah, it was pretty cool because Zaquan had told our Matt Lassier that he wasn't going to work out. It was just going to be a visit. I'm just going to watch. And then, he had a really good first day of the visit. And I was told that's when, he decided, like, hey, I want to work out. Very fluid in position stuff. I think position stuff was where I liked him the best. I think so one-on-ones, it was kind of a mixed bag. But I think from a position standpoint, watching through the position drills, quick feet, you see the physicality with his body frame. When he certainly hits somebody, he's gonna make an impact. And so I liked his footwork and the way he used his hands when I watched him. There's times when he's in coverage where he's a little too aggressive, and sometimes when somebody changes the route, he kind of gets off key. But I think overall, I thought he was good. I mean, I don't think he was elite level, but I think he's pretty good. He was exactly what I was kind of hoping to see, which was what he does with his footwork and space when you're facing slot guys, when you're facing wideout guys. And certainly not a finished product, but none of these guys are. I don't care if you're a 5-star or a 4-star. I mean, none of these guys are a finished product, but there's a lot to like about Zaquan. I mean, I was very impressed. And I was wondering, too, kind of what position he would play in college. And so I can see him playing, that safety position more. I can see him play maybe, say, a linebacker or something. I think Zaquan's very natural at safety, and I think he'll be a tremendous addition for FSU. That would be a huge pickup. I think they did a great job of this weekend. I think this is another visit where I think the last visit he took in the spring, he got some detailed stuff, and this is kind of a follow-up to that where I think they really connected well with him. I think he liked just what the people were in the DB room, these coaches, their style, and what they're trying to do as far as with their back end. And I think he just fits with a lot they're doing. I'm not going to say they're leading, but I think before this visit, I would say Miami, but now I would put FSU up there. I think they're up there. So now I think they definitely have a legit shot. And I think he's another guy that I think will officially visit FSU probably in season.
Do you have a feel for where he is on the board for Florida State? Just how much of a priority he is?
I think he's pretty high. I think he's one of their top safeties on the board. There's several, but I think he's one that really they've liked from the beginning. He's a name that we've heard consistently, and I think as the season's gone on and the relationship is built, we've seen more of Zaquan on FSU's campus. I think it wasn't about the skill. I think with him, I think FSU was pretty sold on what they saw, but I think it was more so the relationship and building, like, hey, is there mutual interest here, or are we just doing all the grunt work and you're kind of interested? So I think that relationship is built and the interest is built as they go on. But I think from a skill set, I think he's pretty high up there for FSU.
All right. Wrapping things up. Again, there's so much more over on the premium recruiting board. Hop over there, everybody. But, I mean, you really can't talk about an elite camp without talking about, pretty much the standard of what you would consider elite, and that is somebody that's the number one person at their position. That would be David Sanders, offensive lineman out of the state of North Carolina, the number one offensive line prospect for 2025, was on campus. He was hanging out with Alex Atkins. Alex Atkins was teaching him. It looked really good, Michael. How good of a time do you think David Sanders had working with Alex Atkins and being around this program this weekend?
I think he had a really good time, and I always say when a high 4-star or a 5-star visits your campus, especially for a school like FSU that's coming off one good season, that you're trying to build off that one good season, you want to have something that's unique. Well, the one thing they do have unique is, one, their culture, and then 2, Alex Atkins. Alex is very unique. Alex did a great job as far as just the way he connected with the family. It was very genuine. It was straightforward. It was like, this is how we do stuff. Like, if you're about it, we're about it with you. But I think they laid it genuinely on the table, what they are, what they can do, what Alex has obviously done with developing players, and then 2, getting to know him personally. I think that was the first thing that I'd heard that they did a really significant job was they didn't really talk about football. It was really getting to know Alex Atkins as a person. And because I think FSU knew what David Sanders was. And by the way, this guy is a phenomenal kid. Matt Lassier was telling me about the interview and just raving about the way this guy handles himself. I think he does a lot of stuff outside of sports with his high school. So certainly does a lot of tremendous stuff. And then obviously he's a tremendous ball player. I think a cool moment in the elite camp was, the one that I think people caught on, video watching was when he didn't participate in the camp, but there was a lot of technique stuff that Alex was working with him, and he was showing him, footwork and why this footwork matters in this play, and kind of showing the cause and effect when you do it right compared to when you do it wrong, and what can happen. And so I thought that was a really cool moment, during the league camp. But I think FSU had a really good weekend with David Sanders. I think that was exactly what they were hoping to build. Was you're sold on what we're doing and where we're going as a program. I think that's FSU's perspective, but we also want you to be sold on what our program is. And I think FSU certainly nailed both of those things throughout the weekend. Talked about he can't wait to get back, and I think they connected on everything they were looking for this visit. Connection with the position coach, obviously connection with Norvell. That's there. He really liked him a lot. There wasn't time too many times during this visit that you didn't see a smile on David Sanders' face, and even a smile on his family's face, because I think they were very surprised. I would venture to say not many head coaches have greeted him in the parking lot the way Norvell did. So that's always something that I watch for first-time visitors that have never experienced that. You can just see the reaction that it's a small thing, but it's a big deal because it shows you priority-wise. And it's like, hey, I'm not too big where I'm just going to sit my butt up in the second, third floor and wait for you to get here. I'm going to come down to greet you because, it keeps it very genuine and personable. And it's not just, it's not just like, oh, you're here. We'll show you around. We'll show you stuff. So I think it's very unique. And you could tell just the way it influenced David throughout the visit. So I think they did a great job. Obviously, now the follow-up visit is going to be the big key of +1, what FSU does during the season, because we know there's a lot of top teams that are involved with David. Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, all teams that are going to be involved. So the follow-up visit for me is what I'm going to monitor. Like, what are their feelings? What is his comments and conversation about when it comes to the second visit? Because you want to hear more about the fit there, the family there, the home feeling there. I think the next visit, that's kind of what we're looking to see.
All right, that's awesome. But who's going to commit? Any commits?
Who's going to commit?
Commit watch. Give us something, Mike.
Commit watch. Whew.
Or just, mostly, people love listening to all this, Michael, and every single week we give them really good news. They look really good on this guy. They look really good on that guy. And then people ultimately want kids to announce. So, I know you can't give us dates and times and all that kind of stuff, but do you have a feeling, or how does this stuff work out? Like, is this something that this plants the seed for future stuff in August, September, before their season start for them to make a commitment, or do you think anything can happen here in the next few weeks?
Yeah, the guy I didn't even touch on is visiting on June 23rd is Micaiah Danzy, 4-star running back from FSU High. He was there. He was a surprise show in. He got finished with his track. He came over there. That's a guy I would have on commit watch for sure. I think this set the kind of, to your words, plant the seed with JoJo Trader. If he was picking today, I feel confident that it was FSU. But a lot of these visits, I think, were about really just putting yourself in position before the season starts, because good portion of these kids, most of them are, a lot of them are 2025, and then two, the 2024 guys, I think most of them are probably waiting till during the season or later this summer, to make a decision. So I think certainly helped that. And then two, we kind of started seeing kind of this 2025 offensive line class slowly being put together. Max Buchanan was another talented one out of Seminole. He played well. Solomon Thomas, another one, 2025. So I think you can kind of start to see the pieces coming together for that 2025 class. So I think it's more about the planting the seeds comment, Aslan, than it is like, oh, these guys are on commit watch right now.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate it. There's going to be plenty more over on the PRB, the Premium Recruiting Board. So stay connected to warchant.com. Subscribe. Go over there. Everything's waiting for you. Michael, thank you as always, man.
You got it, bud.
All right, and that is a wrap then for Wake Up Warchant. For Michael and Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget, again, the Monday Smash live, Irish O'Fell and myself. I think at 6 o'clock that it's going down. So do take part in it. It'll be a lot of fun. And warchant.com's got you completely covered on all things Florida State, especially the recruiting right now. Matt and Mike killing it. Go check them out. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.